situation where they could have used a skip to get to the east side. Anyway, enough about that. We're off. Uncle's leaving the house. We get a power glove in Link's house. So, off to a good start.
That's a pretty sweet item that finding your first chest always required. Doesn't open up anything at this point, but always great to have that, and hopefully it's going to lead you to not have to go through Aga 1.
Yeah. Fun fact, in the original, the older versions of the randomizer, you couldn't find the power glove in Link's house. It was impossible to put there because you could use it to get out of this locked-in area. Like, you could lift that one rock. Anyway, we get the red cane from the uncle today, which is definitely an interesting starting weapon.
It's a very useful and versatile weapon because you can just push the block and never take any damage. You can shoot these magical thingies to deal some damage. Very versatile in that regard.
We also get a 4 bomb drop off of the first guard we kill, which means our players aren't going to have to spend any time carrying out bombs in this escape if they don't want to.
And of course, those super fast boots, very nice to see those.
Yeah, this is looking a little fast of a seed so far. We've already got 2 progression items, not including the Cane of Samaria, which the uncle gave us.
It's not every day you get to check bonk rocks before heading into Kakariko, but this is one of those seeds.
Yeah, it's also possible that you might forget about that just because that's such a rare occurrence. And the hammer! What is this seed?
I've heard of Kakariko giving a lot of items, but I've never seen Escape being this kind to our players.
Yeah, I think we need to get V-Torp on the horn.
We need that be in a ball on the next chest then, so that we can check Sikid.
Yeah, what's next? Moon Pearl, Titan's Mitts, maybe just a sword, you know. This chest right here, what do we got?
I mean, you want the Moon Pearl, so that means Dark World access immediately upon leaving this area.
It's true.
It was just a small key, so still missing a couple of items and the map. On the other hand, our players haven't been able to find any rupees yet, and would love to pick up that 100 rupee count to check the bottle merchant in Kakariko.
Ooh, Aestolia almost taking a death there on the ball and chain guard. Thankfully getting out of it with 1 heart left.
Yeah, she's gonna pick up 1 additional heart here just to be safe and moving back from escape.
Alright, now we're just basically taking Zelda back up through the castle, the same places we've just went through a few minutes ago. It's a lot faster than normal when you have the boots. You can even mix up the route a little bit using this catwalk. You can just dash along it instead of walking around the I don't even know what to call them, dividers in that hallway there.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called either, but very nice to have these boots. Not as fast as just being able to mirror back to the entrance, but always nice to have those boots out of the way early to speed up the seed. We did also get to see a very early map check by Aestolia, I think it was, but I didn't quite get to see what it was.
Yep, that's one of the good things about races, is that we'll get another map check on COB's side as well. Even if we missed the crystals the first time.
There is very little incentive to do any farming here, as our players are sitting on 4 to 5 bombs. Rupee count, as stated, is a little bit worrisome, but they will be able to get at least 50 rupees just from the normal pathway in Kakariko.
Yeah, you definitely want to see some rupees along the way. because we do need 100 rupees for the bottle merchant. There are other rupee gates elsewhere in this game. You need, I think, like up to like 860 rupees or something. Maybe 960 if you include the Pyramid Fairy.
It's 110 for Palace of Darkness, 80 for the digging game, and then like 10 to 20 for the chess game, and the Smiths, 500 for Sora, of course. And you do get 20 back from that, so I guess it's fine.
Just guaranteed.
There's our bottle and our lamp and the 10 bomb pool.
Wow. So yeah, we can check Sick Kid. We can go to the mountain. We can go deep into Eastern Palace now with the lamp. I'm sure both of these runners are comfortable with dark rooms, but they won't have to do any this seed.
And in that dark room, they also found the powder, so that cave is also open.
Yeah, that's something you see very rarely early on, is the ability to do the magic bat, and it's something I think some runners might just forget about, and could possibly trip them up. We'll see if Cobb decides to head into Bonk Rocks, and he does.
Well, so far just leaving Escape, our players are stacked. Just look at that tracker, the items they already have. Wow, a very nice 300 rupee pull.
Yeah, that's definitely nice to see early on. It's not, strictly necessary. These runners can do Houlihan Room, they can farm, they even have the gloves for a relatively quick, quote-unquote, quick rupee farm. Looks like our 4+ with damage pull, tier 2 pull, is a lot of magic.
And the crab is delivering 10 arrows, and Cobb will be doing his Aga check here at the Lumberjack. He has 10 arrows there as well.
Yep, we're going to be seeing the 2 items here in the forest, and then probably going to Kakariko. Aestolia is doing the same thing as Cobb. Looks like we're going to be seeing Lumberjack on both sides.
Some players do opt to go up here and check Lumberjack, whereas other players tend to leave that for later. It's sort of a personal preference in that regard.
Cobb opting to skip out on that 20 rupees where the mushroom usually is. But early on, that's, I think, kind of risky, especially we don't know when we need to go to Zora, if at all. So I like to just get the money for Zora no matter what. Like, I'll just go and pick up those 20 rupees. We'll see what... Aestolia is also opting to leave those rupees behind.
They may just be thinking that it's not very likely that Zora is the place to go for something like Moon Pearl in this situation.
Oh, definitely. It's just... I don't know. I've been burned before by being 20 rupees short at Zora.
Well, let's see, I commentated earlier, one player was 11 rupees short of a Zora's check, which was Ether, which was required for Turtle Rock.
Speaking of Ether, what are you finding here in Blind's Hut?
We will see later on if that is required or not. Aestolia is taking a very early unfortunate death.
Yeah, it's not too bad when you have the boots, but Aestolia is going to have to make her way towards Kakariko once more, whereas Cobb is already there and is plundering the whole place like he owned it.
And there is our new map check. So we do see a crystal on Eastern, a major crystal up on Tower of Hera, and a regular pendant in Desert.
Let's see what Kakariko Well has for us today. Ooh, Cobb accidentally trying to throw a bomb through an open chest. You can apparently only throw bombs through unopened chests, which is something I never understood. Find the hook shot here in the back of Kakariko Well. So that opens up East Death Mountain for us.
Not only East Death Mountain, it actually opens up Tower of Hera as well.
That is true. And we do have an ability to clear Tower of Hera. We also have the fire source, just in case we need to go into the basement.
does seem like our players are at least guided a little bit towards the Tower of Error region at this point.
Maybe a vanilla pearl situation.
A possibility. We're finding some more Sora money first, though.
So I guess our runners were right in skipping out on that 20 rupees in the forest.
At this point, our players should be very happy with what they found. Well, that's an interesting bottle location. Only real thing they're missing out at this point would be a sword to feel really satisfied, but the hammer is a very nice weapon to have and more money.
What? Yeah, where are all these rupees coming from? Like, people are just stashing all their life savings away in the back of bars? Doesn't make sense. COB is actually going to be checking the magic bad, which I definitely endorse. Don't want to leave a location like this unchecked for too long, especially considering you've had access to it since, well, since you left the escape sequence.
One of the earliest possible Batcave checks you can make, and COB is going to get a little bit more money for that.
You woke me up. Here, take this, go away. It's basically what half the NPCs in this game are like.
Considering COB has already gotten 2 times 300 rupees here in Kakariko, he's like, why do you just have that little?
Yeah.
The boost also allowing this check here in the library. Well, there's a sword.
So now we can use the Ether Medallion now. In fact, I really hope we see our runners use Ether Medallion inside the Moldorm cave. It's like one of the fastest ways of clearing that cave.
There are some interesting applications for some out-of-ordinary weapons, stats, an out-of-ordinary weapon in the race game, but COB is not interested in that game.
Yeah. The red cave can actually be progression, especially if you don't find the cape anytime soon. Now, that doesn't mean our runners can't get around that requirement. The requirement is just there for one-hit KO mode. Also, with the hookshot in hand, COB is going to be able to hopefully clip through a block here and avoid having to enter the dam twice.
He does do that. Just get a 20 rupee fine and pushes the other block away so you can just hookshot back to it. And despite having this massive access up on Death Mountain, we still see COB here doing the standard, as to speak, route. He's going to find this very wet shovel.
Yeah, rusty shovel. Gonna be useful for digging up some dirt in the forest area. I think a lot of runners will opt to do this specifically because, like, even if they have the ability to go up to the mountain, they want to clear out something like this just because it's something the other player might do. And you might have some important progression here that's not necessarily blocking off, like, Dark World access. Like, the Moon Pearl might not be here, but say the bow might be here, and you might just skip out on this, and your routing is just ruined, comparatively speaking, if you don't get the bow here.
I think it could also just be that you have this standard basic route that you like to do in the early game, and diverging too much from that may just cause you to forget it, to check it later on, and make it a bit awkward because you don't really know how you want to route that in later.
Yep. And COB is going to go all the way over towards the Ice Rod Cave. Not that long of a check when you do have the boots, but Aestolia is going to be going to the mountain, going to be reading the writing on the wall and seeing that there's a bounty of items up here.
Using the slowest dash in the world, and COB inside of this Ice Rod Cave will find the item that we are looking for, the Moon Pearl in Ice Rod Cave.
That could be massive, especially if there are myths up here on the mountain, or maybe Cobb could check the Dark World right now. It looks like he is going to be going at least towards Hype Cave, whereas Aestolia is taking the bait, going towards the mountain. We'll be seeing new locations here on both sides.
You asked for a seed where there's a lot of things you can do, and in this seed they have so many choices open to them.
Yeah, if Cobb finds the myths anytime soon, or even if Aestolia finds the myths up here, that means whenever Cobb decides to go to the mountain, he's going to be able to full clear everything up here in one go, instead of having to leave and come back, because Aestolia needs to come back. Oh, and you find the flute inside Hype Cave, along with a couple heart containers, which is really nice to see, because we've only seen 4 total hearts before that.
And also finding our first shield there, and that flute, we haven't seen the Dark World check yet, but always nice to find that flute. We'll soon see if it is required for Maya or not.
And Cobb is going to be heading over towards the race game, probably going to be checking out the Stump Kid here in the Haunted Grove.
And you saw what Aestolia just got.
The mirror.
Indeed, the mirror.
That is especially interesting because Cobb is passing by a mirror location right this second. So that's going to be a location that's going to be a pain to come back to once he does find the mirror.
This is definitely an interesting seed where both players taking different approaches, and the flippers as well, and even more money for Sora.
Wow. Seed is on one dig game.
What is going on?
Cobb almost setting up an EG in getting out of the dig game there.
So do you full clear swamp when you're done checking these areas?
I mean, yes. Like if you're given the keys, all the keys to swamp, like 17 minutes in, I mean, it'll probably be more like 20 minutes before Cobb decides to get to the mountain, or maybe Aestolia decides to head over to grab that moon pearl. But we're gonna see the ability to full clear Swamp Palace within like 20 to 25 minutes, and you don't pass that up, I don't think.
And I think it's very likely that she will head over to the Ice Star Cave later on with those flippers, checking Ice Star Cave, and then taking the dip into the Sora and Hobo region.
Yeah, the shovel not panning out today, just has 20 rubies. Aestolia is going to be clearing out Hera, which is one of our important crystals, and it's fully clearable.
And does have a fire source for the basement, but you don't want to see that compass down there anyway.
Alright, so it looks like Cobb is going to be heading into the Dark World here after... maybe not, he's going to be activating the flute first. But we are in Kakariko, and he does have the ability to enter the Dark World. I think... yeah, there's like 2 paths open. Do you go into Village of Outcasts or Skull Woods area, or do you go to the mountain after this?
We'll soon find out which path he chooses, and we do see from Aestolia's side that it is forced basement, but since both players have to do it, it's fine, I guess.
Looks like we are going to be flying somewhere, probably to the mountain. So yeah, Cobb is going to be getting that mirror and those flippers in short order.
We still have yet to see a crystal check for the Dark World, so we don't actually know which items are going to be required in the seed.
Yeah, I believe we also still need to see what's inside Spiral Cave. Cobb, upon reaching the summit of the mountain here, will also be doing the same thing as Aestolia. We'll be clearing out Hera because it's something you kind of have to do, and it's not going to get much faster if you think about it.
I've seen Go Mode Tower of Hera. It's basically the exact same speed.
And you don't want to leave 2 items here. Like, I don't think any player would skip out on that.
And it's also one of our 2 crystals for Pyramid Fairy, so long shot it's 2 additional items. Long term, I mean, not long shot. What am I talking about?
So we are going to finally be seeing at least one of the items here in this room. Game really doesn't want to give it to us.
The seed has to have its little fun, you know?
Ah, a heart container. That's honestly nice to see, especially if you're sitting at 4 hearts. Enemies in this dungeon honestly hit pretty hard, comparatively speaking.
And Mini Moldern took a full heart from Aestolia. So she's down to 2, but she did flip the switches and can grab the hearts here.
Yeah, COB is picking up that mirror. Gonna be going upstairs, grabbing those flippers, fully unlocking Swamp Palace in the process.
And Aestolia is now going to tackle everyone's favorite boss. It's a close call there, but managed to stay up.
Yeah, the boss is honestly not that hard with the hammer. With the hammer, you can kill it in 3 hits and bypass the rage phase. And if you know the pattern well enough, it's pretty easy to predict what it's going to do. It does spend some time like turning in random directions, but then it will spend like a second or 2 moving in the direction of where Link was.
And with that, Aestolia picks up her first crystal in the sea just a little bit more than 21 minutes.
Yep, and COB is honestly not too far behind. Aestolia is going to be giving us a bit of a high five here as she goes into the Spiral Cave.
Always nice to be able to do this key with the boots. And then we will see where he decides to go after this. Unless she gets... Actually, there is no item that would make her stay up here on Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's true. Even if the mitts are here, she still needs to leave to get the Moon Pearl. The only thing here, Aestolia might be baited into clearing out the Zora area before heading towards Ice Cave. Like, Ice Cave might honestly be like one of the last things Aestolia does, and we know the flute is in the Dark World, so there's not even that shortcut to get to the Ice Rock Cave for her.
We will find out in just a few minutes if she's going to be checking Ice Rock Cave or not, as COB is going to take his little quiet time here in the basement. Also gets the clip with the hook shot.
Fortunately for Aestolia here, both of our runners will have to come back to do the Dark Death Mountain area, as we haven't found the mitts here. Now, the mitts could very easily be inside Spike Cave, which Aestolia did have access to. It's just that she had to essentially choose between doing Spiral Cave or Spike Cave, and Spiral Cave honestly wins out in that scenario.
Sadly, she couldn't actually check Spike Cave because she doesn't have the Moon Pearl, but COB can.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's true. It is in the Dark World.
There's also that question of heart count from COB's side. He doesn't have the invulnerability item because he skipped decay, but he does have the red potion. And now we're getting to the moment of truth here for Aestolia, if she's going to be checking Ice Rock Cave or not.
Yeah, honestly... Oh, looks like she is. So we will be getting even up here in items in short order. Or at least even up in access. Aestolia still needs to visit Hype Cave to be truly even on items.
The routing here is going to work out well if she's just gonna decide to dip into Sora and Hobo after this, which COB didn't, and couldn't, in logic at least.
Yeah, he did have the money to do a fake flipper to Zora. He even had the boots to do water walk, set up a water walk here in Ice Rod Cave. But might not be too gung-ho about doing sequence breaks. I know some players are more reserved about doing that.
COB's having his take on Moldorm and having some issues getting in with the hammer. There's a second hit.
Ooh, get a bit of a troll dorm here. Getting knocked down a peg.
Moldorm has a tendency of not wanting to be very nice.
I don't think nice is like the word. Like Moldorm is just having the time of his life up here, and you're the guy that's coming in to ruin his day. At least that's how I see it.
Well, Moldorm is kind of stuck on this platform and can't really do anything. What purpose does a Moldorm's life have?
I don't know.
These are the philosophical questions we sometimes ask with the silver arrows for Aestolia from Hobo.
He's doing a save and quit, surprisingly. I guess it's probably faster to just start at Link's house instead of swimming back down, but we aren't going to be seeing the Waterfall Cave or Zora, at least on her side.
I thought she was going to save and quit back to Link's house, go check Hype Cave, and then go to the island and mirror there, and then go around and check Sora. Because she didn't actually check what was on the hilly island.
So we are going to be seeing the first look into the Village of Outcasts area, or Skull Woods, on Aestolia's side. COB is probably going to be right on her heels because he's done with the mountain for now.
Indeed, and both are players very close as the routes have come together. Here's our Dark World check. Green Pennant in Mire and the Red Crystal in Palace of Darkness.
Alright, so we're going into Village of Outcasts here on Aestolia's side. We're going to be seeing Chess Game. We're probably going to see the other two items here. And I guess we haven't done a map check yet in the Dark World. Maybe we have.
Aestolia just did a map check.
Okay. Yeah, so Swamp Palace is a crystal. Thieves Town is also a crystal, so these runners have no reason not to just go inside. Although 6 hearts and grain mail, Thieves Town is a little treacherous if you're not particularly practiced at it.
And Thieves Town is just a regular pendant this time around.
Oh, it is. I think our tracker is mismarked.
So we do also have the green pennant over on Mire, so this flute may not actually be required in this seed. Oh, the myths in Thieves Town!
That is incredibly important to find, and COB really needs to head into that pendant Thieves Town like as soon as possible.
The myths,
Now,
of course, are always required.
Yeah, a lot of runners will opt to check the first 4 chests in Thieves Town regardless. We've seen some runners do that and then get burned by items later on in the dungeon, even multiple times. So hopefully, for COB's sake, if he does decide to do that, there isn't anything else in this dungeon.
So at this point, we are looking for the bow, the 2 rods, and possible medallion.
Yeah, and Aestolia is also leaving the dungeon. Thankfully, does not forget about the bomb hut here. It's honestly really easy to forget about Village of Outcast locations when you head into Thieves Town and then exit it.
And COB here is taking a safety precautions as he's setting up this bomb jump to the big chest.
Yeah, the bomb jump here, if you have the boots, is not particularly difficult in terms of, I guess, the leniency of the bomb jump is a lot greater if you're doing the boots bonk strat.
Now this is an interesting frog world tour here from Aestolia, heading up to the northern part, checking Bumper Cave.
That's especially interesting because we do have the mirror and the mitts. There's no reason not to just go back there. But I guess Aestolia probably doesn't want to skip out on these locations.
And they are available, and these locations are also a bit tricky to route in at times.
Yeah. Another thing is Aestolia did specifically opt to not visit. I'm taking a death. Although I think that might have been an intentional one. Anyway, so Aestolia did opt to not go to Zora area, and this is a nice time to go visit Catfish and Mirror and check out the Zora area.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that, but then I thought, I've never seen if you can bring the smith into the waterfall or not.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Typically speaking, they only really care about the caves that have multiple entrances. But yeah, I haven't seen it before, so it is a mystery to me as well. COB is going to be heading up here doing the exact same thing. We'll see if COB decides to head over to the Catfish as well.
And the king was just buried with 20 rupees today.
And he's a pauper king.
I have to say, I've never seen this route that Aestolia is taking here with the frog all the way over here, but I am very intrigued by it.
Yeah, it was probably just a snap decision between grabbing the frog and returning the frog. Aestolia probably just remembered, oh wait, there's also the North Dark World and, you know, Zora and stuff.
Checking the stun price there and finds 20 rupees.
That would be nice if this were a poverty seed, but as you can see, we have all the money we need and more.
Players have found 300 rupee finds already.
Alright, we're going to be seeing Catfish, one of my favorite locations.
Always a tricky item location to route in for sure. It's gonna be spitting out more money.
Now, if Aestolia was inclined to do this, or you know, if she even knew about it, if you do bonk off of the wall to the right of where the Catfish is, you're essentially lined up for a quick warp into the Dark World. Like, for whatever reason, your X position on the map can sometimes get you a faster warp, like a less laggy warp, I guess. And that's why you see a lot of runners do that, because then they can just grab the Catfish item and then warp to the Light World and get the quick warp.
A lot of small things in this game that you can utilize to your advantage, most certainly. Did see 100 rupees on the Sora ledge. It's time to see what the king has in store for us today. He's going to be throwing out the... I really want to call that vanilla.
Well, that is what you called earlier. You said that that the Zora just gives you 20 back.
I mean, to be honest, King Sora almost always has 20 rupees or a piece of art.
Those are the two most common items in the game. Forget exactly how many pieces of art there are, but there's like 24 big 20s in the game. So Aestolia still has the dwarf. He's going to be checking Hype Cave with the dwarf.
I love this route from Aestolia so much.
Yeah, this is like the longest Frog World Tour I've ever seen. The only thing the only place I think I've not seen the frog taken now is the mountain.
That'd be incredible. But this is also going to help her quite well because she has the mates to go back in and can activate the flute as well that she gets here.
So with the flute now, that opens up the mire area. As we mentioned before, mire is a pendant. It is also the green pendant. And assuming that we need ether for it, it is also fully clearable.
COB is flying over to the eastern pod region.
This is interesting. We're going to be seeing, I guess, Palace of Darkness check without a bow. It is one of our important crystals, so if the bow is there, that could be huge for COB. It's just a lot of runners will put off Palace of Darkness checks until you have the bow, or you're starting to get a bit desperate.
We also haven't checked the back of Sahasrara yet because of how much the seed has given us this early on.
That's true, and yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting check. I think COB is doing this partially because, you know, Eastern and Sahasrara are Sphere 1 locations, so, you know, we really do need... You don't want to leave, like, a lot of Sphere 1 locations unchecked. Like, leaving Eastern Palace is one thing, but I don't know.
It is interesting that he's opting to check these two crystal dungeons that he can't complete before going into the Pendant Thieves Town to get the myths.
Yeah, and there's also Swamp, which is fully clearable. I mean, Argus isn't the funnest thing to do with just the fighter sword, but still, it's fully clearable.
Swamp is a dungeon that's a bit of a paradox. On one hand, 6 items is really nice. On the other hand, go-moding it is also really nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I just... If I see, you know, 25 minutes in, I have the ability to full clear Swamp, I'm just assuming there's something good in there.
Composite. I was going to mention that I can't remember the last time I did not see a major item in that first chest in Eastern.
Yeah, COB opting to do Eastern Palace before Palace of Darkness. Both interesting checks, as you said. There are 2 other dungeons that we could enter in full clear at the moment. So coming over here is a little interesting. It might just be to ease his mind that he's not leaving items behind.
The Smiths will give Aestolia a piece of heart. That's what she's looking for. She also skipped a big heart from the pegs, so she feels very confident with her current heart count.
Yeah. 9 hearts green mail, it's not perfect, but it'll get the job done. Aestolia is opting not to grab the purple chests. Going back...
She hasn't done the digging game, so that may be why.
That's true. Okay. But the thing is she also could just flute the purple chest over there, and then come back later and do the digging game, whatever.
Well, it's just gonna be one dig for her, so it won't take too long.
Yeah, that is true. The amount of digs is synchronized per seed. It's not random, unlike the vanilla game.
That we are thankful of. And I did see COB getting an item, heart piece or something in the big chest. So I don't know if he's found an additional item. And Aestolia is going back for the chest.
Okay, so that's 2 items here in Eastern Palace, at least. I don't think... I'm not entirely sure where COB is going. Okay, he's going to be mirroring out will probably be heading into Palace of Darkness. Was thinking about saving and quitting there, which would have wasted a bit of time, I think. Especially if
Absolutely.
something good is in here.
He does have that mirror spot ready, and he really needs to find the bow in here to make this play worthwhile.
Or maybe something leading to the bow, potentially, like Fire Rod or... Wow, we really don't have many items left on the table, do we? Ice Rod, maybe?
I did have a seed earlier that I commentated. I had a forced triple dip into Pod. You enter there first to get the hook shot to get up to East F Mountains. You could get the lamps. You could check the back areas to get the mushroom in the big chest and get hammer from that. It also wasn't very fun.
Alright, the purple chest just has a piece of heart for us today. So where does Aestolia go from here? The Meyer area is open, and that looks like that's where she's going. First gonna be checking the ledge here, which is just a bomb upgrade.
Meyer is... I did not see that.
Yeah, sometimes the runners can get the check out of the way before we could even hope to see what it is, just because of, you know, the rendering and encoding. They're seeing this at the native display, and we're just getting, you know, we're getting like a however many bitrate representation of it.
Now, COB has found something in Palace of Darkness, the Master Sword.
It is good. It's necessarily, or it is necessary to beat the game. It's just, you know, we're probably going to be seeing other swords along the way.
It's very likely, but he's still looking for a couple of more items here.
Yep, and Cobb is correctly realizing he doesn't need to check the harmless Hellway chest because it is guaranteed to have a small key.
And a Genius K with some more heart. It's a full refill, which is pretty nice. This is the last item location COB can check, unless this is a bow, or unless he wants to do the bottle glitch to get to the bow-locked area. And, well, there's another medallion that could be required later on, because we don't know what Turtle Rock needs. COB is running away from here, so he may be opting to check the pyramid after this, as Aestolia is heading back to the house.
Yep, looks like Aestolia is going to be heading towards Hobo check, at least.
Aestolia has checked Hobo, she got the silvers from that. Oh, the sword was actually up on the island.
That's honestly not bad to see. It looks like Aestolia is going to be going and grabbing that.
Yeah, I think this is a great choice. You don't know when the next sword is going to be.
So I'm wondering if COB is going to be heading over and grabbing that sword as well. He is leaving a Dark World portal here upon checking Hobo, so he will be able to swim down there if he goes back to, you know, the Light World. We already did see the Hobo on Aestolia's side. Forget about that. The Silver Arrows.
Aestolia is now heading to pick up this sword, and we'll see where she decides to go from there.
Yeah, and Cobb is opting not to check out the island, so he's gonna be stuck on Master Sword for a while, at least until we find another one.
We'll find out soon what is on this pyramid. very, very shocked to see 20 rupees on the pyramid.
Alright, so what do we still need? We already know where the mitts are. Cobb still needs to go into Thieves Town to find them. We still need a bow. We still need both rods. And we might need a medallion. But that's about it.
That is indeed it. Haven't actually found anything except for the potential bombos that was in Palace of Darkness. Still don't know what is needed for Turtle Rock, because Aestolia hasn't gone back up there with the mitts.
Cobb is going to be heading into Village of Outcasts area, it looks like. I'm wondering. Aestolia only did the first 4 chests in Thieves Town. It is a pendant, so, you know, I understand why you'd do that, but it's entirely possible that important items could be deeper in the dungeon than that. And Aestolia is heading into Swamp Palace here, a dungeon that we've had access to at least for the past 20 minutes.
She can full clear this, get her 6 items inside of it. And COB is also going to get its shield upgrade here in the chess game.
I don't really see Cobb opting to skip out on Thieves Town at this juncture. The only thing is, I just really hope Cobb realizes he does have the ability to go into Swamp Palace, especially if there's something good in here.
And COB is running out of options. And Aestolia at least knows that this is a crystal, so she has to go in here at some point.
But as you said, a lot of runners will wring their hands about going inside because it's entirely possible to have a go mode Swamp Palace, and that is a lot nicer in terms of time. Looks like Cobb is about to catch up in terms of items. Now, he does have a lot of Palace of Darkness cleared out already, so that's time that Aestolia is going to have to spend later on. Cobb also using a lot of that vanilla game knowledge. There is a bunny beam under that pot, and you can just powder it to get a free fairy.
Yeah, that's really good knowledge from his side. We'll also get to see if Aestolia is gonna opt to do a left side check immediately or wait until after the boss. He's going to find a red meringue. And Aestolia is opting for the full clear from the get-go by going left side.
Yeah, I think if you're still waiting for a lot of items for go mode, doing left side swamp is kind of a no-brainer. You don't want to skip out on those potential items.
And COB has decided that he is going fully through with this Thieves Town.
Yeah, I like this play, honestly. Like, I don't ever want to leave a pendant dungeon before clearing it. Like, even if I find, unless I'm in go mode, you know, I don't want to leave those items on the table.
We will find out whether or not this decision is going to pay off, as Aestolia has successfully drowned the left side and will soon be moving into the 2 item locations that are there. These cockroaches being a bit annoying for COB.
Yeah, those enemies are very, very annoying. So I think we have 2 items left here in the dungeon, if I didn't miscount. So it's very possible.
That seems possible to me as well.
Yeah, it's very possible that we could find one of the rods or the bow in here. And that could be massive for Cobb and massively terrible for Aestolia.
Yes, the compass and 20 rupees on the left side swamp.
Yeah, but as long as I find any item in left side swamp, I'm gonna consider it a win because you have to decide. You would have to decide later on whether or not you're okay with leaving a potential item in Swamp Palace.
And the players don't tend to want to leave item locations.
And we did find the key, so it looks like the small key isn't locked in the big chest here. So we're gonna have to check it. It's just a heart container today.
And Aestolia hasn't found the big key for Swamp yet, so may have to go back and check that later.
Yeah, that's one problem with doing left side first, and honestly it's just a gamble because it's also a problem if the big key is on the left side as well. But considering the semi-recent updates to the key logic, the big key could very easily be locked inside of the big chest.
That is absolutely true, and Cobb here with this blind fight. And it's a boss fight that when you know the fight, it's really easy, but when you don't know the fight, it can be really difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cobb accidentally getting a spin attack here, but it looks like still getting a very fast pattern, while Aestolia finds the Master Sword, or sorry, the Tempered Sword here in the backside of Swamp Palace.
And that's our final sword upgrade, since she hasn't found the one in the Dark Money Room in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, that's good for Cobb as well, because it means that he'll most likely be at least untempered by the end of this seed.
Absolutely. And Aestolia will now be heading towards Argus.
Yep, and nothing good in the back half of Thieves Town. So Aestolia did make the right play, unless this is a pedestal seed we're looking at.
Well, all items we are missing could actually all be on the pedestal.
And that Tempered Sword pickup is actually very timely, because Tempered Sword makes Argus a lot quicker. Especially if you know the very, very difficult NMG strat involving a hook dash and sword pokes.
And with Tempered Sword, you only need one hit to take down the R guy instead of two, which Master Sword does require.
Mm-hmm. And 2 spin attacks can take out Argus himself. We don't have the bow, and we don't have the fire rod, so that's probably the fastest way of taking him out at this juncture.
I'm pretty certain you're right with that, and Aestolia's gonna get her second crystal with that, and the big key.
Cobb. So this is something I mentioned earlier. Cobb wasn't able to check the cave south of Haunted Grove earlier on, so now he actually has to walk the chest, whereas Aestolia was able to just mirror and flute over towards the retired thief.
Cobb is still taking this walk here because he didn't get to see K45 earlier, since he went here when he didn't have the mirror.
Cobb will also be in prime position to enter Swamp Palace after this as well. Looks like Aestolia miscounted items here.
That's really unfortunate, Sally. That's gonna take off some time.
Yeah.
She's not happy with that.
So where does Aestolia go from here? We
Dark
have
Death Mountain?
Dark Death Mountain. Yep, Dark Death Mountain is a ripe fruit for the picking. That is 6 items right there. Gonna pick up some potions, it looks like. Do have the money for it. entirely sure why we need it though. Maybe Aestolia is priming for a trip to Misery Mire, or maybe just thinking we need to go into Turtle Rock.
Turtle Rock, Spike Cave, safety.
Ah, Spike Cave. That's a big possibility here.
It's just, it takes just a little bit of time just to get that blue potion for the safety and getting blocked by a dead rock.
Yeah. So Cobb is going to be heading through Swamp Palace here, doing all the same things Aestolia just did a few minutes ago. I don't think there was anything good in here except for that Tempered Sword.
The Tempered Sword and the Red Boomerang.
Yeah, like I said, nothing good in here except for the Tempered Sword.
You can use the boomerangs for some interesting strategies in Ganon's Tower with the switches.
Yeah, but we also have the blue boomerang as well. I think. Maybe not. And the blue
We will see what
boomerang
they're doing.
is... Yeah. Blue boomerang is obviously superior. Aestolia messing up that nice hookshot clip, unfortunately. Having to go upstairs here is always feels like the biggest slap in the face.
That clip is a little bit tricky because you can't really stand next to the right side wall. You have to stand somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, the positioning isn't too difficult. You just need to be somewhere. Ooh, the bow here in Dark Death Mountain. That opens up Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness for full clearing. Anyway, you need to be. You can't be aligned with the block that you're pushing. But you also can't be like fully misaligned with it, I guess. I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I agree. It's really hard to explain. She did also find the blue mail in Paradox Cave, which is a very nice safety pickup to find us. And half magic here in Hookshot Cave. And the red mail as well. What in the world is going on in this cave?
All these safeties. Also, I really like the red mail sprite. I think that's Tattle from Majora's Mask now.
The original sprite is meant to be Navi, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. And
it's Tail.
Ether for Turtle Rock, she can go in.
Yeah, but without having either rod, we might get blocked pretty quickly. But I have seen seeds where both rods were inside Turtle Rock.
This is version 29 of the logic, and this is Turtle Rock. And that means we will not be looking for another medallion.
Yeah, it is a little bold to be doing this, especially considering Aestolia hasn't seen Eastern Palace or Palace of Darkness just yet, and she did just get the ability to head right inside.
Just looks like she's opening it and then checking Spy Cave and then leaving.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, I could have seen going inside as well. I think maybe Aestolia also just remembered that, oh wait, I also have 2 dungeons that I can clear, and one of them is a red crystal dungeon, which also gets me 2 more items in the pyramid.
Yeah, I also wouldn't have been surprised to see her go in there.
It's not Pendant T-Rock, there will be nothing in there. Yeah, that's it's probably more true than you think.
So both rods in Mire then?
Yeah, that Mire green pendant is really interesting.
Did see 10 arrows from Spy Cave. Aestolia is saving and quitting out, and with both Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness fully completable at this point, seems like a very natural transition.
Alright, so where does Aestolia go? Probably towards Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness. Gonna knock both of those out in a row. COB. Where does COB have to go after this, other than to East Death Mountain, or Dark Death Mountain? Probably just that.
That, or Does he want to make the play into Mire or Desert?
There's also Ice. Ice Palace is fully clearable. Unless I'm mistaken.
It is fully clearable since he does have the bombs to get through, but that still means you're doing Ice Palace.
Yeah. Cobb is going to be getting the Tempered Sword here. And probably happy about that again because Master Sword Argus is a pain.
And Aestolia in here will find a sword upgrade and bombos. Didn't count the items when Cobb was in here, so maybe there is something on Helmasaur. Or of course that east side. Actually, with that, there should be at least one item in here. There are definitely some different choices in how you want to route Palace of Darkness, but in any situation, the mirror is extremely helpful to help with the routing.
Yeah. It's a bit interesting that Aestolia is doing the bow block side of this dungeon before anything else.
Yeah, personally, if I do see that first small key, I tend to just want to go up and check that first 1 or 2 chests and throw the bomb across over that she's going to be throwing when she gets up here.
Yep. So, not entirely sure. Did Cobb do the left side of Swamp Palace? Or will he have to go back inside?
Oh, the Ice Rod!
That's it's pretty big. I don't think Cobb is going to be letting that sit there, because he does still have to do Palace of Darkness, and as soon as he goes to the mountain, he'll have that ability to clear Palace of Darkness.
Oh, Cobb is going Ice.
Yeah, ice is a good play. Got Tempered Sword, you can clear it. Why not? The only thing is that he doesn't have a mail upgrade. He does see that Butter Sword.
It's gonna stay in his mind a little bit, but the difference between Tempered and Butter is not as big as the difference between Master and Tempered. And he's still doing the standard thing in Pod, trading a small key for a small key.
Yeah, with certain routing, you can guarantee that it's a small key, but in this case, Aestolia wasn't able to guarantee it. So yeah, Aestolia will be getting the Butter Sword here soon enough, whereas Cobb is going to be stuck with Tempered probably for the rest of the seed. Not that it, as you said, not that it's a big deal.
The Tempered Sword is strong enough to do every single fight in the game, and still very fast cannon since they do have the silver arrows for the final phase.
Yeah, so one thing about this seed that I'm starting to get a bit worried for Cobb, what if he finds the Fire Rod in here and decides to go into Turtle Rock before clearing Palace of Darkness? Or sorry, before clearing Palace of Darkness and grabbing that Ice Rod.
That is definitely the big fear for him in this situation, since we know the Ice Rod is not in Turtle Rock. And he is still incentivized to go up to Dark Death Mountain in the first place, since if he finds the Fire Rod in here, he's gonna go up there, he's gonna get the bow. So who knows where he's gonna go after he gets that bow.
Yeah, and that is our last item, isn't it? Fire Rod.
Yeah, suddenly we went from 4 potential items down to a single item for Go mode.
Yeah, and it is possible that Fire Rod can be on pedestal, but I don't think these runners want to see that. Aestolia does pick up Bombo's tablet in here. Or not Bombo's tablet, Bombos in here. That does open up Ice Palace for her as well.
But before she makes the decision to go there, she's extremely likely going to finish off Palace of Darkness, mirror over, and do Eastern.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hey, look, the red boomerang is the better boomerang.
You know, I never saw that use for the red boomerang. I mean, we did have the red cane, so we could have done it just as easily with the red cane, but still. Going for a nice bomb jump here in Ice Palace. Gonna be saving a little bit of time instead of going back upstairs.
Yeah, it's not one of the more common bomb jumps you see, but it's very nice to know the setup for it in situations like this. Aestolia is taking a bit of a break as COB moving over to this lucrative area of ice. 3 chests are in this area.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more COB finding the fire rod before heading up to the mountain again could really hurt him in the long run.
That's the problem for COB in this situation. There is no real good way to route this seed considering the item layout. So they're clearing the turtle room without any real problem. And COB's going to get a small key here. He also did find the big key, so he can open the big chest. And Aestolia here with Helmet Star King. You need a total of 17 hits with the hammer.
Yeah, we even have the bow and silver arrows, and that can completely destroy this boss, but having Butter Sword is just only 2 swipes as well.
And with that, Aestolia will also unlock the Pyramid Fairy for her. Only a map, so it is only the Ice Rod as the remaining item for COB over in Palace of Darkness. And thus far, his trip into ice hasn't given him anything of value.
Yeah, I don't know if I think we still have at least 1 item in here. COB thinks that as well.
The big chest with a piece of heart is also not what he's looking for.
I don't know if we have any items left in Eastern Palace, but now that Aestolia has finished off Palace of Darkness, we do have both red crystals, so we can check the Pyramid Fairy as well.
And there is 2 potential items there. Now, has Aestolia been to the pyramid yet?
Good question. I don't think so.
I believe COB went there and saw 20 rupees, but I don't remember if Aestolia did it. And COB here getting Coldstare into the corner, getting a lot of very nice hits in.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to keep it trapped in the corner. And just a key. So we did find all the items in here. Ice Palace was a bit of a bust. Now, whether or not Aestolia goes into Ice Palace looking for that fire rod is another story.
So in this situation, where is the fire rod? Desert Palace, Mystery Mire, first chest in Turtle Rock, Pedestal?
I think you could potentially get all the way to Laser Bridge without the fire rod, given the right key setup. So it could very easily be on Laser Bridge too.
That is possible, but it does require a lot of very specific setup.
So Cobb is going into the Mire area. I don't know if this is his first check. It looks like he has been here before. He is going to be heading into. Going to be heading into desert probably.
He hasn't checked this before, so he didn't actually know which medallion was on Meyer. Aestolia was here, but her check was too fast for me to see.
Yeah, and I don't think we saw the check on Cobb's side. Then again, it might just be that he doesn't want to check it until he's desperate enough to think about going into Misery Mire.
It is really interesting how much he is delaying here for the Dark Death Mountain check. We do see the map on the torch.
Yeah, it's not boots blocked, though we had boots since the secret passage in Hyrule Castle.
Indeed, boots was literally the third item of the seed.
It is a little strange that Cobb is opting to do all this stuff before heading up the mountain again. Maybe he's just trying to look for, some way of doing something in Turtle Rock.
He may just think that he is behind and has to take a gamble in this situation. Just 20 rupees here for now.
Yeah, and Aestolia is starting to really get a good lead in crystals. We'll be having 4 crystals after this. Cobb did do Ice Palace, and also did most of Palace of Darkness. So going through Palace of Darkness for him is going to be a lot quicker.
And then Molas does have the second item in Desert, and Cobb is going to take care of that, and, well, Silver Arrow Armos is pretty fast.
Yeah, Armos did have an item, but it was just 50 rupees, so it's not the Fire Rod we're looking for. I'm honestly starting to think it's a pyramid that has our progression here. There's still 3 items associated with Mire. There's still an item here in Desert Palace. Aestolia also didn't clear Thieves Town, even though there are 2 more items in there.
And that could be the one thing that could bring Cobb back, as to speak, because in this situation, I think we can clearly say that he's behind.
I don't know about that. I think he's in a good position. It really depends on where we find the Fire Rod, because the second Cobb goes back to the mountain and grabs that, book or bow. He'll be on a path that's going to send him on a quick check back through Palace of Darkness to get the Ice Rod. Quick jump through Eastern Palace to kill Armos. And then he'll be tied up again. I mean, not even tied up, because he does have Ice Palace cleared out already. And Aestolia hasn't done that yet.
I mean, I don't think that Cobb is in a bad position. I just think that Aestolia has a lead at this point. We will see if this Lanmola's kill is going to pay off. And Aestolia looks to be heading over to Ice, and Cobb finds 20 rupees.
Okay, so Desert was definitely a bust. Again, unless this is a pedestal seed, which it can very, very easily be. Cobb just really needs to go up to the mountain right now. But it looks like he's going to be heading into Mire.
He may just opt to think that this is a big... That's Ether, so he can go in there. He may just think that this is... Just assume, take a big gamble, and say this is a pedestal seed.
Yeah. We don't have the book yet, but for quite some time you haven't actually needed the book to make it a pedestal seed. In previous versions that was the case, but not here. So yeah, we can go into Mire. Looks like Cobb is opting not to do that just yet.
Going to check a Gina and get the piece of heart, I believe, that was in here.
Alright, so Cobb, saving quitting, will probably be going to the mountain now. He's gonna be catching up on items very soon. We know where the bow is, we know where the mail upgrades are, not that those are necessary. Oh, looks like we're not going to the mountain after all.
Is this really interesting that he's delaying this for so long? Or maybe he's buying potions and then heading back up there.
He might also want to grab Spike Cave, but yeah. Aestolia is unfortunately dropping this room with the two Stalfos Knights. It's one of my favorite little strats to do that room.
Getting that nice quick kill on both of the Stalfos is very nice, very fast, and of course those Stalfos cause a lot of lag and it's really painful.
Still having a little bit of trouble here in the Ice Palace Hellway. Looks like we're not going for a bomb jump today on her end. We do have the red cane, so it's not that big of a deal, and we
COB.
know Aestolia. Cobb is stuck in a hamster.
That's
anyway,
just
we know.
dumb.
We know Aestolia isn't gonna find what she wants in this dungeon, so she's gonna end up full clearing it anyway.
It's still a crystal that she has to do anyway, but obviously this is good for Cobb since he did this as well.
I was having a little bit of trouble with this block.
He also doesn't get...
Now I'm wondering if Cobb ends up going into Turtle Rock or not. Or if he's just going to grab the bow and say, you know what, I'm just going back into Palace of Darkness. An Eastern Palace. Especially considering that does open up the Pyramid Ferry, which we have yet to see.
Indeed, we will find out in due time, but that bow... I mean, in one sense you feel very happy getting that bow, but on the other hand you feel a lot of regret from going into Eastern Palace of Darkness earlier. And also checking to see the ether there on Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Cobb's best bet right now is if it's in Mire or inside, or at the pedestal specifically. Because Aestolia is getting near the end of Ice Palace here, and yeah, we'll have all of the same progression that Cobb did. And Cobb is opting not to go into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, he also looks to be skipping that, so Spike Cave into Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace, same as Aestolia did earlier. Looks to be the play from him as well. And this Fire Rod, we are running out of locations for where it can be.
Yep, got Misery Mire, Green Pendant, we got the Pyramid, you got the pedestal. Don't know if there are any other locations we haven't seen.
Yeah, I do think those are all the locations that are remaining.
Oh yeah, Turtle Rock could be in Turtle Rock. Nobody wants to go into Turtle Rock looking for the Fire Rod. For good reason.
Indeed, I don't blame our players for wanting to skip out on that. And Cobb is taking the flight over to 5, so he's gonna clear out these 2 crystals.
Yeah, not entirely sure what Aestolia is doing here in Palace of Darkness. This is some interesting routing, but it's probably due to the fact that she wasn't able to do the bomb jump. So she has to take the longer route. And now Cold Stare does have a small key, which does mean that the red cane is necessary for the logic here. Though we did start with a red cane, so, you know, it's kind of a moot point.
That is indeed true. And it's going to be a little bit of a different fight here. Aestolia is going to have a stronger sword than COB had, and she's also going to have half magic.
Yeah, well, the magic doesn't matter too much considering we can't even use the fire rod. And Bombos won't hurt the puffs, it only hurts the ice surrounding the puffs.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Cobb is just going to be heading towards this bomb or bow block side of Palace of Darkness. Going to be grabbing that fire rod, or sorry, ice rod, and an extra key to get to Cold Stare. It's just going to be that. That's it. Aestolia, unfortunately, drops Cold Stare here. So all the puffs are off and running off in different directions.
Sadly, she did spin a little bit too early, but she just charges headfirst into them and kills them without any difficulties.
Yeah. And Cobb evening up on items once more. Whereas Aestolia now has her, what's that, 5th pendant? Or crystal?
And now it's Aestolia's time to make a decision of where to go next. She can't clear Skullwoods, she can't clear Turtle Rock, she has items in all 3 remaining pendant dungeons, and she has the Pyramid Fairy available to her.
Yeah, Desert Palace is kind of a low-hanging fruit for her, I think. Desert is often a very quick check. Looks like she's going to be checking the Pyramid, which I think is a good idea, especially considering you've had that available to you for basically as long as you've been able to clear Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I fully agree with this decision from her. You don't really want to go into a pendant dungeon if you don't have to, and especially in this situation, you're just looking for one item. Still, for her decision on pendant dungeon, since she's already done half of Thieves Town, it's likely not going to be that high of a priority to go back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if this is a pedestal seed, Cobb is well in the lead at this moment. If it isn't, like as you're saying, Aestolia does have quite the advantage. Like if Fire Rod is here, Aestolia is definitely, well in the lead.
Absolutely, and we will find out that in due time, as COB will be entering the Helmasaur King fight at this moment. And he may opt to use silver arrows on the second phase since he does not have the Butter Sword. And yeah, Aestolia hadn't checked the pyramid earlier, so does see those 20 rupees as COB brings down Helmasaur King, and inside of Pyramid Fairy we see 20 rupees and 50 rupees.
Okay, so that's actually really good for Cobb, because Aestolia now has to decide what she wants to do to look for this Fire Rod, and there's so many locations that Cobb already has checked that Aestolia hasn't. And Cobb is really not too far behind. All he has to do is run through Eastern Palace and grab that 5th crystal himself. And he's going to be down to, the choice of Misery Mire, Turtle Rock, or Pyramid.
And Aestolia is making the decision over here to the Desert Mire area.
I definitely agree with going into Desert first, just because it's a relatively quick check. I'm wondering if Aestolia will go to Landmola's, though.
Landmola's does have an item.
But it's something that Aestolia can't really afford to do because we know it doesn't pay out. And Cobb is already very near to where Armos is.
Yeah, this seed is entering its most critical juncture. At this point, we really are running low on those item locations, and who knows, maybe Cobius decides to make the decision to go into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Fire Rod and Turtle Rock will be the ultimate troll because both of these runners decided not to go for it. For good reason, but yeah.
And if this is a pedestal seed, then COB definitely in the big lead. And Aestolia does have to go into Mire after this and hope that it's in there. Or, of course, make the gamble up to Turtle Rock and hope that it's there.
Yep, Aestolia also still has at least one item. I'm pretty sure it's 2 in Thieves Town. So, yeah, it's definitely a little... I'd be a little worried if I were Aestolia right now, because of all the items that I was leaving behind.
That is indeed a worry should it be a pedestal seed, since COB doesn't only have the big pennant lead, but the fact that Aestolia has to retrace her step back into Thieves Town, and she is making the play to Turtle Rock.
This could be huge for Aestolia. COB is doing something. I think he remembers that he can do the pyramid now, maybe?
Maybe? Yeah, that seems to be the case. He's starting at the house.
So this play right here by Aestolia is going to make or break the race for her. This is... Yeah, if it's in Turtle Rock, that's the win, basically. And if it's not, that's giving COB all the time in the world to scour everything else in the map.
Absolutely, but sometimes it's these kind of gambles that you have to make to pick up those wins. And COB has to spend some time here with the Pyramid Fairy, which we know it's only 70 rupees.
Oof. Yeah, Aestolia was a bit too far to the left that time to do the clip properly. COB is gonna check the pyramid here, not gonna find what he wants. And is gonna be down to pretty much Misery Mire or Turtle Rock. And for his sake, you better hope it's Misery Mire.
But I mean, he could also make the play to go to Turtle Rock after this.
Yeah, that's true.
There are still some possibilities left in this seed, and should it still turn out to be a very close race, it could come down to a left-right side Ganon's Tower. But Aestolia now entering Turtle Rock.
So COB has to make a difficult decision here. It looks like he's going to be at least starting in the mountain. But he's going to get the flute out and probably head towards Misery Mire.
Small key for Aestolia in that first chest, so she can continue for now.
Okay, this is interesting.
COB
Got the flute out?
It's like he changed his mind after he got the flute out. He is very indecisive.
Okay, this race is definitely going to be a bit more interesting now. So COB is going to be a little bit behind going into Turtle Rock, but Aestolia does also have a lot of locations to check if the Fire Rod ends up not being in here.
And COB hasn't opened up Turtle Rock yet, so he has to wait. Oh, there's the compass there, locked out. It's not in Turtle Rock.
Okay. Now Aestolia needs to decide if she wants to go into Mire or not. And considering the fact that that's probably her best bet, I think that's where we're going to be seeing her go.
2 items in Mire. 1 from Green Pendant, 1 from Pedestal. That is all we have left, right?
Yep. But she could also check out Land Molas, which is... Ugh, you don't want to do that.
You know, this is a mirror of the very first match I commentated in this tournament, where the 4 remaining items were the 2 in Mire, Green Pendant from Mire, and the Pedestal. And in that seed, the Go Mode item was the mirror from Sahasrara.
Yep.
But this time it could be the Pedestal.
Yeah, if it's a Pedestal seed, COB pretty much has this in the bag, because he already does have 2 of the pendants. We do get a bird toss. Oh, no, we're taking the bird with us today.
Yeah, just taking the bird for a walk. Mire is always a bit tricky to route because of there's so many small keys. You don't really want to go to the vanilla big key location because of the long cutscene. But in this situation, you are very likely going to have to.
Slowly having a bit of trouble here in this wizard room.
COB's going to get his compass and go out of here. He does not have a small key to continue.
Okay. So he pretty much just has the same play Aestolia did. Go to Misery Mire, the place both of you have been avoiding for this entire seed. We've had the ability to clear it for quite some time.
And if this is pedestal, COB has a big advantage, but if it is not, then Aestolia is in the lead. Every single chest that will be opened from this point forward could contain the item that is necessary to go through with Skullwoods and Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I'm honestly a bit surprised that we haven't seen the inside of Misery Mire, until an hour 30 or so in. Fortunately, COB is not going to be able to do a bird toss. We might get a bird smash out of it, but COB will just go. Oh, yeah, you can't grab it.
Bird statue, it is. Aestolia here on the left side is going to find the big key.
Yeah. Now do you just go to the boss? Looks like Aestolia is at least going to be checking some of the other items in here.
At least avoiding the vanilla big key chest for now. There's our first item, and it's the mushroom!
Mushroom in... Wow, this siege doesn't want to be straightforward anymore. It was really nice to start with. This is also a room you don't see very often on Aestolia's side. Can't tell you the last time I've seen it.
I think it's been 2 weeks since I last saw it, but it's really rare. But mushroom, green pendant, pedestal, and one more item in Mire. Wow, this seed is definitely delivering here in the end. Aestolia is going to check this big chest here, and then it's the vanilla big key location and the boss remaining.
Okay, 50 rupees and a mushroom here in this dungeon. Aestolia is gonna go towards the boss here. We'll be getting that green pendant. Now, whether or not the green pendant has what we're looking for is another story.
This is definitely a way to end this seed and this search for the fire rod.
Mm-hmm. Also, we can't forget about the mushroom as well. So green pendant and mushroom are 2 leads now that we've gotten in this dungeon.
COB is going to take some time here with the vanilla big key chest, and that's gonna take a lot of time for him.
Yeah, especially when you know you don't have to do it, or we know he doesn't have to do it.
And for Aestolia, checking the mushroom location is likely going to be the first choice since it's the fastest.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised, given the risks Aestolia has been making, that she's actually going towards Vitreous instead of just assuming it's on the mushroom. My favorite thing about this cutscene room that COB is in is the fact that it takes so long that all of the torches go out by the end of it.
Good programming. Good programming.
I want to ask, I want to corner Shigeru Miyamoto, at a convention or something, or E3, and ask him why he made that room take forever.
I'd be looking forward to the answer, but I get the feeling he may not remember because this game it's old. Let's just say that. Gonna see silver arrow strats here by Aestolia on Vitreous.
Okay, so we just get the map from Vitreous, but more importantly, we get this green pendant. So Aestolia has two leads, brand new leads from this dungeon, and as far as she knows, you know, there's a whole lot of other locations the fire rod could be, but if you're playing to win, you're just assuming that those places are just dead to you until you're forced to check them.
Or is she doing Lanmolas first before checking either of those? Oh no!
That is actually huge for COB, because COB is going towards Vitreous right now as we speak. And I think the amount of time it takes to get through the backside of Mire, and the time it takes to go through the backside of Desert are pretty much the same, especially considering Vitreous is a complete chump with silver arrows.
I mean, this is still an item location for her, and it's a little bit tricky to get back into this area.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree. I agree with it. We just know it's not the right play.
Sadly, the life of a commentator, as COB is proceeding through these dark rooms in Mire.
A nice red cane dash from COB. One of the swaggier strats in this dungeon. Able to basically race the fireball up through the room and watch it hit the crystal switch. So yeah, COB is very near Vitreous, whereas Aestolia now has to light these torches and wait for another cutscene to play out.
The cutscenes are equalized now, with COB checking his in Mire.
Yep, looks like COB is going to be they're going to be entering boss rooms only a few seconds apart. And COB has potentially a faster boss, but Aestolia does get a very fast landmole.
Fantastic one. Cycle Silver Arrow for her gets her 20 rupees, but now is the moment of truth.
And where is this Where is it? Just give us the fire rod.
It's either from the mushroom, the green pendant, or it's on the pedestal. And if it's pedestal, COB has a big lead since Aestolia has to go through Thieves Town.
Yep. And yeah,
where is
Aestolia
she
gonna
going?
be going back into Thieves Town, maybe?
Oh no.
This could be disastrous. Wait. Where are we going?
Skullwoods?
Did she never check Skullwoods?
She must have, right? Or what? I'm
No,
confused.
I don't think she did. I think only COB did.
It's just a big heart from the mushroom. The hype has just suddenly turned into a very anticlimactic situation here.
Did she think she has all the pendants?
Or she hasn't checked this back item location here?
Hmm. COB is heading to Sahasrara to check out this green pendant.
And if this is not the spot for him, it's going to be on the pedestal. Will Sahasrara today bless us with the fire rod? No, it's a piece of heart!
Wow!
And you know what that means.
Huh. And Aestolia, unfortunately, is going through Skull Woods here. Well, whereas COB will probably be in Skull Woods in short order. Dang, a blind pedestal. See, that's it's very mean. If I do say so myself.
It's very mean,
fact,
and especially so for Aestolia in this situation.
Yeah, in fact, COB is so sure it's a pedestal seed that he is going directly to the backside of Skull Woods because he's checked every single other possible location.
It could be Book.
Oh, that is true. It could be Book. I guess that's about it. It could be Book.
Oh, Aestolia's gonna dash through the wall and not get the dash to the big chest.
Yeah, the book on pedestal would be quite the troll. must say.
Ether tablet and Bombo's tablet would suddenly be available, and COB, you can't take the mirror spot there. You have to change it a little bit.
All right, so what do we got today? Is it the fire rod? Or is it the book? Is it the fire rod? Or is it the book? If you like memes, you'll probably want it to be the book.
COB is going to start pulling his item away from the pedestal as the 3 pennants are shining loud up in the sky, and the item that is full is going to be the fire rod!
Oh, okay. That is 1 hour and 40 minutes in. Go mode for COB.
And now he just has 2 dungeons to go through to get his final crystals. And sadly for Aestolia, it is extremely unlikely that she will win this match.
Yeah, and that's really the danger of skipping out on locations, like not clearing pendant dungeons you can clear. I mean, Aestolia is, clearing Thieves Town right now, and if she makes the correct choice, she'll be getting the Fire Rod Go mode very shortly.
And Aestolia made a lot of good choices, routing, ahead in the crystal count, not having to double dip Eastern and Pod. But sometimes it's the pedestal seed, and then it pays off to do those pendant dungeons fully. And COB with a very fast Mophila kill gets the 20 rupees. But Aestolia did get the God Pixel in Hellway, extremely impressive.
Yeah, that's always good to see. I think actually this is Aestolia's last play, isn't it?
Well, she still hasn't checked the mushroom and green pennant yet, but
okay.
we know that's nothing.
COB is saving and quitting. We'll be heading up to the mountain here. The final trip up the mountain.
And equipment-wise, he has everything he needs. Half magic, 15 hearts, with red mail, a blue potion, and a red potion. Of course, he has to go over to that east side in Turtle Rock to get the small key to continue.
Yeah, that's something it's hard to remember sometimes, especially if you had already gone inside. But I guess with just getting the fire rod, it's probably still hot in your mind.
This seed has been quite the trip for our players, as COB is going to make his trip into his final crystal dungeon.
Yeah, this was a nice seed at the beginning. It just kind of went downhill.
I think the seed could actually have been a really good seed for our players if they just found the book somewhere.
Yeah, book would have definitely made this a very fast seed.
Because,
well, not very fast, but...
Well, the thing is, if you know it's a pedestal seed, then at least you know you have to go through all of the dungeons. If you don't know it, then, well, the items you're looking for could be anywhere. But in this situation, the blind pull for the fire rod and the big key was also here on the east side of Turtle Rock.
Getting bodied by these rolling spikes, unfortunately. Although we do have red mail, so it's not that big of a deal. They only do 1 heart of damage. So Aestolia, getting the 3rd pendant. Now, I'm assuming she'll be heading to the pedestal in short order. The only thing is that COB already did Skull Woods and is in the middle of finishing Turtle Rock.
And COB even having the powders, very nice should he so need it.
Yep, Aestolia is heading up towards the pedestal, so we will be seeing that go mode for her.
It's just unfortunate for her that this was a pedestal seed and she left out those item locations.
COB is in go mode. We'll just have to grab this small key from this pokey, and then be able to just head deeper into the dungeon.
That was a really nice setup there to get the small key, the switch, and go back over to the north side without having to bother too much with those anti-fairies.
Yeah, it did get a lot of lag though from having all of those enemies on screen at once. So we're heading deep into the dungeon. Does COB skip the big chest? No, he's not skipping the big chest. Is entirely possible that if you skip the big chest, you run out of small keys by the end. So, but it is a risk some players will like to take.
At this point, this being a pedestal required seed, I think that COB doesn't have any idea if he's ahead or behind at this point. And as COB opens the door into the deeper parts, Aestolia is going to make her pedestal pull and her go mode with the fire rod. And she's not happy about that at all.
Yeah, especially considering she did have to double dip Thieves Town and yeah, put off Misery Mire for quite some time.
COB did find his third bottle, and that was another blue potion for him, so very nice for him.
Wondering if COB is going to grab this magic pot here on the right side. Doesn't look like he's going to do it. He does have the boots, so he can do skip the lasers with the boots. Can do it without boots too. In fact, I honestly think it's easier.
He already has the small key though.
Sorry, I was forgetting about whether or not there was a key door in between there and here.
He did get that small key in the big chest that you did mention earlier. And there's a guaranteed full magic fill up here before heading into Trinex.
Yep. Opting not to grab the heart there either, surprisingly. I mean, we do have red mail and potions, but usually I like to have as much health as possible going into this fight.
He feels very confident going through this fight, and also gets to switch over to the fire rod since you can't open your menu during explosions for whatever reason.
And he really wants you to see those explosions.
They do, and Aestolia not having any problems with Mophila. COB getting a little bit annoyed by this Trinex, but should be fine.
Yeah, didn't get 2 spin hits on the head as it was moving downwards initially. But yeah, it's not a slow fight with Tempered Sword no matter what.
And as COB exits Turtle Rock, Aestolia enters. And you know what time it is?
What time is it?
I think it's time for that little guessing game.
Okay. You wanna go over it?
So there are 22 different item locations inside of Ganon's tower where the big key can be. Get your guesses in right now. And if you are a subscriber to any of our speed gaming channels and or have donated a total of 250 bits, and you are the first to guess right, you'll be entering the leaderboard.
So what number do you typically go for?
Well, I always take 3 because I don't like Bob.
That's I can respect that. I usually go for 8, which in the original tournament typically was the fireball room, but in these days it's somewhere in inside the Stalfos room. I think the first chest usually. And Cobb is actually showing that right now by going to the right side since he got a small key in one of the first 2 chests.
Indeed, you get small key and some random junk. Using the king here on the switch.
Oh,
Number 3, number 3 with that book. Number 4 with more money. More money again.
Yep, that is 6 items. The next will be the torch, most likely. That counts as one of the items, even though we typically just refer to them as chests.
Indeed. Chest is just synonymous with item location for this form of randomizer. Number 7 is a small key, so I'm still happy with that.
Bob is still dead.
And 8 through 11 in this upcoming hookshot room. Number 8 is going to be 3 bombs. Number 9 is going to be 5 rupees. Number 10 is going to be 10 arrows. And number 11, an arrow capacity upgrade.
Wow. Such riches here in Yen's Tower today. I'm having some trouble here with with the hook shot.
That's the hook shot he wanted to use there. No. Number 12, more arrow capacities.
How many arrow capacity upgrades are there in here?
Just as many as the 20 rupees we found in Kakariko.
So, infinite?
Yeah. And the boomerang strat, very nice there to get the switch.
That was really nice. That's different from what I'm typically used to seeing with the boomerang strats. Opting to bonk over the fire snake instead of using the hook shot to get high frames. There's our cape. That'll be
Cape
nice
in
for
number...
Ganon.
It will be cape for number 13. Oh, Aestolia is skipping... Is this still fine for her? She's skipping the big chest. It was a small key inside of it.
Well, it could very easily have a small key, you know, here or on Laser Bridge, but it is possible for there to be a small key in the vanilla big key chest, and in that case, Aestolia will have to come back.
We have not checked 17 item locations, and well, there's only 5 left where that big key can be.
Yep, this is where you start to think about that tile room possibility.
18 will be Bob, 19 through 21 behind Ice Armors, and 22 at the tile room. Oh.
Bob's chest just has a piece of heart, getting us 17 heart containers today.
Well, this has technically been a 100% seed with a pedestal.
Yeah, there is a heart container on the hilly island. I'm pretty sure. Neither of our
No, the hilly island was a sword upgrade.
I mean, sorry, the mountain island.
Oh, we do see that it's number 19.
I mean, Aestolia did go back for that small key inside the big chest, so won't have to do Laser Bridge Aestolia side as well. While Cobb is heading upstairs, about to take out these red mimics.
And congratulations to Nanohertz for being the first supporter to guess the big key location right. COB is fully equipped for this gauntlet that's coming up for him.
Yep, the only thing he might like is Butter Sword, but we already know where that is, and Cobb decided he didn't want it either.
Aestolia's got the Ice Rod out, ready for Trinex. We'll have the strongest sword and therefore be able to do this fight slightly faster.
Yeah.
That's a very nice first phase.
With the boots, you could even get a zero cycle if you dash behind the heads and hit them as they're activating. But it's honestly not that much faster, so, and a lot more risky, so it's probably worth just doing what Aestolia did.
And she gets the double spin, so with that, she's now going to head into Ganon's tower.
Yep, and Cobb, on the other hand, is right at Landmo 2. Misses the second head, fortunately. So we're gonna be seeing a bit longer fight than Cobb probably wants to see.
He did take that hit there from Lanmolas, which pushed him away from his position to get the silver arrow shot on the second.
Going through some of my favorite rooms in the game, the ability to kill multiple Wizrobes at once. Probably due to how much I hate Wizrobes from the original Zelda.
The King is just a very nice item to have in this situation, since it directly one-shots them and just breeze through these rooms without any difficulty. It is very rare that you enter those rooms without the cane. And Cobb's got all the magic in the world, so doesn't have to save some by using the lamp.
Cobb doesn't even need this full magic container, it just goes right upstairs.
And he does have the necessary small key, and there is no reason for him to pick up any chests here. There is no item he can get that would help him.
Yeah, he even couldn't find the Butter Sword here, so like no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, he has that knowledge, so he's already dedicated himself to doing this, and going to pick up the half magic there, skipping out using the powder on the anti-fairy, does have those 3 potions.
Nice Moldorm 2 fight, getting just 1 spin and 1 slash, taking him down really easy.
If we did need more safety, I guess the final chest can give something.
Yeah.
Also, Aestolia, I don't think she checked the right side, so she's going to be able to do the sequence a little bit faster. And hopefully Aga will be able to provide some better patterns than that first one.
This is a good pattern, it looks like. Only double, even though all three hit. You basically have to have at least like a frame or 2 in between each hit for them to properly register.
Indeed, and Aghanim goes down and leaves one final encounter for Cobb.
And we're getting everybody's favorite paradox, how did the duck find us in the Dark World?
It's even
probably a better paradox than finding the book in the pedestal or Paradox Cave.
It's even better when you have a seed where you don't even have the flute.
Yeah, that is true.
Sadly, Cobb did not pick up the Baldur Sword, and the mushroom was delivered to the witch, so no food for Ganon.
Yeah, looks like we're going to get at least 2 cycles here on the first phase. I think he has enough, and if he were in the right position, he would have had a very easy second phase, but he opted not to get up above Ganon there. I think we might still get one phase regardless, or 1 cycle.
Yeah, it was still really good for him.
Getting body.
No!
That's not what you want to see if you're running this game.
Well, I guess this race may not be over just yet. He does have a full supply of potions in the back, so him being low on hearts is still fine. He can also bonk this tree here for a fairy.
Yep, it's probably the fairy pickup almost everybody knows about. So this is, I mean, I still want to say Cobb probably still has this, but this is definitely giving Aestolia time to catch up.
Indeed, Aestolia is now doing Ice Armors and will get her big key.
Looks like we're going to be getting 2 cycles here in phase 1, just like before. Ganon doesn't give us a good pattern this time, so Cobb will probably get at least 2 cycles here on second phase as well.
Why is Aestolia not taking the mirror back to the entrance?
Not sure.
Oh, she needs a small key. She didn't get a small key on the left side.
That is true.
Will the big chest supply the small key she's looking for? It will.
Wow, that's the first time I've seen Big Chest have something useful in it.
Cobb playing safe here for this first round of teleportations.
Alright, so we're in the third phase now. Cobb is probably in a stable position. Already has the bow out. Barring any Ganon hugs or getting hit by a fire bat near the edge, I think Cobb might have this.
This is definitely Cobb's race to lose, and it's like they're going to play this very safe after the first fall that already occurred. It's a nice first shot, maybe gets the double, does not get the double, but gets the torch glitch.
Yep, looks like we're gonna have 4 distinct hits here, no doubles, unfortunately, but that's our... Oh!
Okay, there's one final hug because the fourth and final shot with the silver arrow in, and that means that Cobb will take his 3rd victory in this tournament. Good game, well played.
I hope that was calculated, because
that was really scary.
Oh, good. Anyway, Cobb finishes with a SRTV time, 2 hours, 3 minutes, 31 seconds. Pretty good time on a seed where you eventually full cleared the entire game, you know, up until Turtle Rock.
And considering he did have to double dip into both Eastern and Palace of Darkness, a really good time for him.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to join us.
He's already here.
Yeah, good game, Cobb. That was an interesting seed.
Yeah, it sure was. I was pretty happy with my routing, but especially with my glitches, I didn't execute. I couldn't hit a spin speed to save my life. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I was noticing you're spending a lot of time trying to get spin speeds.
I'm stubborn, because usually I do them no problem.
Yeah. So were you thinking this was gonna be a jet seed coming out of Escape and Kakariko with all those progression items?
Yes and no. I don't like a ton of progression items in the beginning, because the seed becomes so wide open that then you end up really having to look for things and you can't follow the logic anymore.
I guess related to that, like, what made you decide to go towards Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness when you had the ability to full clear Thieves Town and Swamp Palace?
That was sort of a gamble. I hadn't checked Sahasrara yet. There was 3 items there. There were potentially 3 items in Eastern, 5 in Palace of Darkness, and I could finish both of them if I found, between those 11 items, if I found the bow. And then on the way, after I'd finished them, I had already decided I was going to do the hobo and pyramid.
Yeah. So that last Ganon hug, was that intentional?
That was definitely not intentional. As you could tell from my fall, especially after I got that fairy, I was just playing him so super aggressive, way more than I needed to. I really didn't think I was going to hit him. I'm not sure why my arrow didn't go off sooner, but I knew I had the fairy, so I was safe.
Okay. So were you feeling like you were like ahead or behind for most of this race? Like, definitely making some interesting calls like later on in the seed.
Such as, like, you talking about when I went to Turtle Rock?
Well, not necessarily that. I mean, that's one thing, but like skipping out on Mire when you were in the desert area, when you're still looking for, I think, 3 items at that point.
So my philosophy on Mire, the idea of doing it while you're in the area, since it was a pendant, my philosophy is getting back there takes 15 seconds, maybe. It's just a flute and a portal away.
Okay. But otherwise, you were really putting off the mountain check, the Dark Death mountain check.
Yeah, I wanted at least a. I wanted to finish Turtle Rock. I wanted to be able to finish Turtle Rock. And the problem with doing that Death Mountain check is you got to climb it. If you don't find the fire rod, you got to climb it again, and that's like a 2-minute ordeal.
Well, as it turns out, the fire rod in the seed was on the pedestal. What were you thinking when you realized that this was a pedestal seed?
I was actually really happy when I started to consider it being a pedestal seed, because Thieves Town, I went into first chest, I got the Titan's Mitt, and then the rest of the dungeon, I got nothing. Desert Palace, I got nothing. And I had done both of them. So if it wasn't a pedestal seed, I had lost a major time there. If it was, then I wouldn't have to re-dip a dungeon because I skipped a boss.
And that was actually a game-defining moment there when you full cleared Thieves Town, because that's not what Aestolia did on her first visit.
Yeah, for the most part, you were a lot more thorough in your checks. Aestolia left a lot of items like up in the air, and ended up spending a lot of time near the end of the seed clearing out items, clearing out locations you had already done. For a while, she was ahead of you in crystals and progression. It was really just like the path. Sorry, Aestolia takes a fall to Ganon, unfortunately. Anyway, yeah, like that was just the last 20 or so minutes of the seed. What really gave you the edge?
Yeah, I was worried when I did the whole Eastern Palace and Pod, and the only sort of payoff that there was I got the
Master Sword?
Master Sword, and then the arrows on the way, the silver arrows on the way out. Because at that point, I wasn't worried about finding any other swords. I actually practice a lot of low percent things, so I was not happy to see blue or red mail. I didn't have any desire to get that gold sword.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what runners are capable of doing and what they even prefer. Like you said, like you don't even want to see a mail because you figure that's going to give you a bit of an advantage since you're more practiced with low percent strats. So any other thoughts about this seed?
It was definitely interesting. That fall to Ganon, though, that bugged me. That was just way too aggressive, way more than I needed to be.
Yeah, it was a little interesting. I mean, you probably know this for sure, but when Ganon hits you with a fire bat, it actually sends you in the opposite direction of what direction you're moving in. So if you stand still, the fire bat pushes you nowhere. But if you're trying to walk away from the edge, it's gonna push you right into the pit.
And as Aestolia here finishes out the seed, just also want to ask you here, COB, now with you taking your third victory here in this tournament, how do you feel going forward?
I'm very happy with how I'm playing. I've had definitely some tough opponents, and I'm happy with how I've performed against them. But I know that it's only going to get harder from here.
Yep, that is the beauty and curse of the Swiss system, and really any tournament. You're just going to keep coming up against harder and harder opponents. So yeah, Aestolia does finish with an SRTV time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 37 seconds. Let's see if we can get Aestolia in here for a quick interview as well.
When you finished off Meyer, you had 3 different item locations to check: the green pendant, the mushroom, or the pedestal. Why did you choose to delay the pedestal for last and opting to check the other 2 first?
Well, the mushroom was an easy decision because I can just flute there. And I had a feeling the whole time that the fire rod was on the pedestal, but I wanted to 100% make sure that I could pull the fire rod and have the mirror spot to go straight into Skullwoods.
And with that, we're also joined by Aestolia. Good game, well played.
Thank you. Hello.
GG's.
Thanks. That was quite the seed.
Yeah. As we were talking with COB earlier, I think the biggest difference here was really just that pedestal requirement at the end. COB was a lot more thorough in his routing, and you left some locations, especially like Thieves Town, until right at the end.
Right.
Sorry.
With Thieves Town, I mean, it was a pendant. It was really early on, so I figured I'm just gonna check the first half. I found mitts, and I figured, you know what, I can start doing crystal dungeon. So I just got out of there and started routing.
So what caused you to just go all in on the pedestal instead of checking the green pendant or mushroom?
Well, I figured I just put my mirror spot there because I figured if it was the rod, I could just go right into Skull Woods, and if it wasn't, then I could flute out and go turn in the green pendant and come back again.
Interestingly enough, that's both of you did that. We were actually kind of hoping for a book on pedestal situation.
Right as the pendants were coming out, it was the first time that I considered that. Right when the pendants were coming out of Link, and I was like, "Oh, this could be the book."
Oh, the moment I saw it was either going to be Ped or Tarantula, I'm going, it could be the book. That could be terrible. And I know that the chat want it to be book.
Yeah, the chat never wants what's good for the runners. It's like a running theme.
But no, that was good. Congrats to Cobb.
Yeah, GG's to you. Well played. Thanks for racing me, and thanks to our commentators and our tracker, especially our tracker who jumped in at the very last second because we needed the tracker to get started, and our restreamer.
Yeah. So yeah, and any other thoughts about that seed you want to talk about, Aestolia? I know it was very quick in the beginning. We were remarking about
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing I was kind of I was feeling pretty good about most of the seed. I mean, getting some of the plays dipping in for the Titans mitts. Hindsight, I wish I had finished clearing thieves just to speed up the end game, but it was very much you have nothing and then you have everything. So I'm okay with that.
Okay. Cool. So I guess yeah, there's not a whole lot else to talk about with this seed that hasn't already been said. Probably gonna call it there. I guess we can give out some shout outs. I'd like to give a shout out to my co-commentator. What is it, Marjevich? I can't even pronounce that.
Marjevich, please. It's
Marjevich.
okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Again, we had to get a last minute tracker, so double extra special shout out to Synac. And again, thanks to Speed Gaming and the community for putting on this tournament. We do have some races today. This is the last day of the Swiss round, so it's really scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of how many races there are left that are scheduled. But there are 2 races right now on A Link to the Past Randomizer and Speed Gaming 4. One is Zayfod Beeblebrox, the 4th versus Korek on A Link to the Past Randomizer, and the other is Cross Product versus Prier 57. And then at 2 p.m. we have Bacon versus Katose on Speed Gaming 2, and then a few matches later on in the day.
And of course, be sure to follow all of our Twitch channels at Speed Gaming and ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 6. And I've been Marjevich.
And I've been Rubo.
And we hope to see you all in the not too distant future.
See you.